Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hi everybody.
Hello everyone.
Hi, my name is David Bell.
I'm Tom Ryman.
And you know what? We just watched season 3 of Stranger Things.
Stranger Danger. Mm-hmm. You could call it Stranger Danger.
Yeah, you could.
Because they're in danger, and it is strange. It's stranger than usual danger.
It's building something.
No matter what happens, we have to stop him. Together.
We are going to end you. We are going to end your friends. And we are going to end everyone.
It's extra danger. Stranger danger. Yeah. Okay. I see it now.
Even more danger.
Yeah.
And it's even more strange than normal.
Right.
So Stranger Danger, season 3.
Season 3. So we picked this. There's really nothing going on this weekend, and we never really talked about Stranger Things. Mm-hmm. So I feel like we should talk about Stranger Things as a whole in this. I don't know.
Yeah, to a degree. I feel like we should address mostly season 3.
Yes. Oh, yeah, for sure. But I do want to first, because I don't know how much we've talked about it on podcasts before, so I just want to ask you, Tom, how do you like Stranger Things in general?
In general?
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I mean, we know this. Just wanted to establish it.
I think Stranger Things, it gets a lot of flack for being nostalgia play, which it is. This
for sure.
Season 3 is the most, the biggest offender in that area of nostalgia without substance. Mm-hmm. But in general, the show, while it does play on nostalgia, is an original story that identifies tropes or familiarity or things that you remember from back then without just being like, hey, remember this? Even though, like I said, it does that a few times in season 3, but in the first 2 seasons, it really doesn't do that. And I think Stranger Things is important in a way because, one, everyone can watch it. Like, this is a show you can watch with your kids or kids can watch it, which is important, I think, because it is a love letter to those Spielberg movies from the 80s or in that area of, like, kids' movies that had some darkness to them and some edge to them where there were actual stakes. Like, for some reason, we decided that, like, kids' movies in general or programming for kids needed to be just as safe and sanitized as possible. And I don't think that's necessarily good for kids. So I'm glad that there's, like...
Yeah, I mean, we grew up on some fucked up shit.
Yeah, and, like, some of the best or most memorable children's literature has some darkness to it, has some edge to it.
I also think it's a good way to teach children early what, like, art is. Like, the stuff we grew up with, like, watching, like, Jurassic Park being, like, my childhood movie and Aliens. And, like, I feel so spoiled from that.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you go back and watch it and you're like, this is really good. Like, this is so well made as well. You know?
Like, Jaws was mine. Like, I
had Jaws as well.
I got the VHS of Jaws for my birthday when I was like 3, and I've worn out like 5 or 6 VHS copies of Jaws. It was like the movie I watched all the time.
Oh, nice.
And so it's funny to like that. My introduction to movies was that.
Right. But that's the thing is, like, and I know we're gonna sound like old bastards, but like we had it so well with that. Where
really
it's just like the first movies we were watching are amazing. They're classics, and like the superhero stuff is good now, but it's just the one thing over and over again.
Right, like,
there's
and
still great shit. Like Avengers Endgame, I'm pretty sure that's a fucked up movie to watch as a kid. In the same way, but there is still a level of like it feels more sanitized.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that those movies don't exist or those shows don't exist. I know there's some excellent stuff for kids out there right now.
Yeah, we just had it so well. We had it so good.
It's like it's harder to find, it feels like.
Yeah.
Or like when something like that does come out, like a Stranger Things, it's like unique and noteworthy and like, oh, this occupies a genre that we don't normally have anymore, as opposed to just being a good example of a genre that's
right
currently in,
And I think this is what's going to make at least my opinion on Stranger Things biased. Because I think if you're a younger person watching Stranger Things, you might not feel the same that I do, because watching this show, because you nailed it, which is that it doesn't, even this season, I mean, which, is the worst offender of this, but for the most part, it's not like, hey, remember E.T.? Instead, it mimics cinematography from E.T., and you remember E.T. in your head.
And a scene from E.T.
And a scene from E.T., yeah.
When they're riding bikes away from the government, but instead of them flying over the government, she makes the fucking government fly over them.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Wonderful. And so, for that reason, there's a baseline feeling that I have when I watch this show of just comfort. And I know it's them tapping into that juicy fucking nostalgia part of my brain. And they're doing it in such a way that it doesn't annoy me like a lot of other things do.
Right. This feels like the Duffer Brothers sat down and were like, we want to make a movie, or like we want to make a show that we would have liked to watch back then. And
there's certain. Did you ever see the original, like the treatments and stuff for this show when they were pitching it? They did it in like a Stephen King novel text, like like the title text. Again, looks straight out of like Stephen King novels. Like they tap every fucking aspect of our childhood.
Yeah, the font. That's how they came up with the title. The show was originally called Montauk.
Oh, really?
And their treatment that they were taking around to different networks was a mock-up book cover of Montauk, and it's in the Stephen King font. It's like the Firestarter font, I think.
Right.
And it says, it's like a Bantam Doubleday paperback. It says Montauk at the top, and it's like, it's a very 80s paperback, and the illustration is like a bike laying on its side in the middle of the street.
Oh, man.
So yeah, they took the Firestarter font and started pitching titles in that font until they landed on Stranger Things.
Right. That was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this show, I just have so much goodwill for everything we've said, which is that it's an original story done in a way that taps into a beautiful part of my brain. It's refreshing to watch because there's nothing too complicated about it, but they cast it so well that you care about the characters, and they constantly know how to like every season has been like a group of people kind of having their own adventure on their own, and at the end they group together to fight the big thing. And like part of the fun is watching all these people come together and like learn what's going on. So yeah, I guess my next question is how did you like season 3?
Season 3 is my least favorite of the seasons.
Okay.
Definitely. For two main reasons. One, for the first half of the season, I think they went too far with Joyce and Hopper just yelling at each other all the time.
They do yell at each other a lot.
Like Hopper becomes kind of an idiot in the first half of this season. And I mean, he's always kind of like, the anti-hero who's like, he's alcoholic, he's kind of a mess, but like he was never stupid.
Right.
And he's kind of dumb in the first half of this season. And
he's real salty.
He's just yelling at Joyce all the time. And it got real old. Like to the point where they have Brett Gelman literally say, you guys need to stop yelling at each other. This is old.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, like, yeah, that doesn't excuse the fact that you had them do nothing but yell at each other for 5 episodes.
They definitely seem like the characters who had because, again, they're doing that thing where they separate everybody and give them their own adventures and they come together. They were my least favorite adventure.
I know, which sucks because they're two of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Then I liked the last half of the season with them when they actually go into the base, or they go to the carnival and then go into the base. Like I liked all that stuff, but man, the first half with them was hard.
Yeah, them walking around the woods. It felt like there was a lot of moments to like when they like when the car breaks down and they have to walk through the woods. It was like I think they're just stretching their adventure out to make it last longer, so the other people can sync up with them.
even if that was the case, they could have given them something to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, they introduced the idea that Joyce is leaving. Like, talk about that.
Yeah, they gave them good ideas. Like, I do like Hopper and Eleven's relationship, and him,
that stuff
and
is fun.
kind of the ending of him like feeling something. Yeah, and him versus Mike
Versus Mike. Mike is such a
terrific.
I was shocked. Like,
He's
when
more
he
of a dick in the beginning than he.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, man, I was never this flip to my girlfriend's parents. Like, he's so like
cop dad.
Yeah.
I think it's because I get it, because he was kind of friends with Hopper. Like, Hopper, he doesn't see Hopper as an adult, and they've gone through so much together. Like, it was weird to me, but like, I sort of got it, where it was like, okay, like he isn't an authority figure. He's like a colleague at this point. In
some ways, yeah. He also was super pissed at Hopper in season 2.
Oh, that's true. He was, yeah.
Yeah.
I also like how much of a goober Mike is to 11, no matter what. Like through, into like even in the ending
so
scenes, he's still
so
awkward. He just can't. He can't do it.
He's so lame and awkward.
It's like, come on, you save the world together. You don't have to be so awkward.
The other mark I have against it is there are 2 parts in this, 2 definite glaring parts in this season where they're just like, hey, remember this, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, the movie theater seemed weird.
When they sit in and they just show us like a full scene from Back to the Future, I was like, all right, guys. And then when Dustin and his girlfriend sing the entire Neverending Story song, I was like, okay, guys.
I mean, okay, part of me enjoyed that because I got... Like, it's this lead up of this girlfriend.
The joke is funny. Joke is funny. They didn't need to sing the entire song.
I guess so. I did like the montage of everybody having to listen to it. But yeah, you're right. They probably didn't have to sing the entire song.
You could have done one verse and one chorus, and it would have been, I think, funnier if they hadn't stretched it out that long.
Right.
Because it is funny that because you don't know what it is she wants him to do, and then he starts singing the Neverending Story.
Right. I think it might have been more forgivable if the characters had more to do while that was happening, because the problem is, like, Hopper and Joyce just sit there and listen, and it's like, and like the others are just driving in a car. Like, if there was more to be happening while they were singing.
So yeah, if they cut it shorter and you cut just briefly to Joyce and Hopper sitting there like, what the fuck is going on, and then you cut to Steve and all them driving because the monster is chasing them.
Yeah, they are getting chased.
So, like, that would have been a real funny cut had it not been like a 2-minute song.
I'm not sure. So, along with what you said, there was one more thing that bothered me.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm not sure if this is my least favorite season. Season 2 is fun, but Season 2 actually felt like it was spinning its wheels a little more. I don't know. I've watched them both recently. But though the final thing that I noticed in this more than any other is the goddamn product placement. And I know there's always been they stop and have a new Coke commercial.
Right. Lucas stops and drinks a faced new Coke commercial. I mean, no new Coke can. Like he has it like the labels pointing out. He takes like a long audible sip and goes like, ah.
Yeah,
and then they have a conversation about it.
It's one of those things where it's like, I think what happened is the writers had to put that in. I think they were contractually obligated to put in stuff for Coke, and they thought if we lean into it and make it over the top, maybe it'll work. And it just didn't work for me. There's also like Burger King. There's a whole plot point around 7-Eleven Slurpee. Eggos have always been involved, and that's the thing is like they're walking a fine line because nostalgia and marketing, this is nostalgia for a very specific type of person, us mainly, anybody who grew up in America in the 80s. And a big part of that is marketing, is product placement was a big part of like the Reese's Pieces, the ET.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's that?
I was going to say, I actually have a bit of a disconnect there because I didn't grow up in America.
Oh, yeah.
In the 80s.
But you grew up with American...
I grew up with some American stuff in American movies, but like the product placement wasn't as much of a...
Okay.
Like I was pretty late in the game for some stuff.
All right. But I guess it doesn't matter
I mean,
much.
it still hits me in the same place. Like I can see the old style of the Eggo box. Like it just gets me. Oh, I remember sitting down and that's what things looked like at breakfast and stuff like that. So it doesn't. I don't think it's. I don't know that
I think what happened is they realized after the first season, like, oh, we can comfortably work in product placement. We can work with corporations because it fits in the nostalgia. But I think they went a little too overboard this time. And I think it showed.
The Coke thing was...
That was egregious. That was like, all right, guys. Yeah.
Like... Ego was forgivable because she's literally just sitting in front of them, and it was kind of like they don't call it out, but it was more like a nod to the previous seasons. Like, oh, it's funny she's sitting in front of the Egos because she fucking loves Egos.
And again, the Ego thing in general is the ET Reese's Pieces, where it's like, yeah, we know it's product placement, but it's nostalgic product placement. It fits.
Well, and they didn't even ask Ego in the first season. Yeah. No, Ego had no involvement until season either last season or this season,
right?
And it was I think it was a similar thing where like, oh, I just read a bunch about this because I had to write something about it, but it was like a similar situation where like E.T. they originally went to M&M's and the Mars company told them no, so Reese's Pieces didn't care. They're like, yeah, fine, you can put it in your movie, and then it like wound up being a huge thing for them,
right?
So I think there was some product they were trying to get into season 1, and the company was like, "Nah,
okay,
you can't do that."
They definitely I do think they got more money because I mean the effects look good, but also I like that they seem to have spent a lot of their budget on music because
yes,
there is fucking like Madonna in this. There's so much.
I mean, yeah, Madonna's probably a fan too, so
yeah, that's true.
It's like a twofold in terms of licensing and because it's like as the thing gets more popular, it gets more money, and then also it gets more reach and it gets more fans. So it's like you could get people to come in and do like Paul Reiser has a lineless cameo at the very end,
right? Because he probably just wants to be a part of it.
Sure.
That's definitely something. Okay. Yeah, you're right, and I wonder how much in terms of casting, how many actors that they got just wanted to be involved. Because we got, I mean, all right, who did we got? Matthew Modine the first year, the first season,
yeah,
and then second season they got Paul Reiser and Sean Astin, and it was like great, fucking great.
And Sean Astin even does a few quick
cameos,
things in this season, yeah.
And like it's becoming a tradition now. Is I feel like whenever we're gonna meet someone from the 80s and 90s, an actor that we love, they're probably not going to stay in for it for more than one season, maybe 1.5. But in this season, we got fucking
Carrie
Elways, and Jake Busey.
Jake Busey is not an 80s. He's not an 80s person.
No, I guess not. But he is. He's like he has
like
that nostalgia.
adjacent.
Yeah, he's one of those people where it's like, why isn't Jake Busey around more? There he is. There's
Jake Busey.
Carrie Elways is killing it in this role.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's doing great.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, like Jake Busey turns into the Thing and dies, and
Carrie
Elways gets arrested.
So we know like it's going to be a thing where it's like if someone, some famous person who is associated with the 80s and 90s shows up, they're probably not going to last long.
Probably not going to make it.
Yeah.
So I was worried about the scope of this. I think we mentioned on previous Hypecasts or something.
They have to expand the mythology.
Seeming too big, but I think they handled it okay in this one.
Yeah, they did. I think that's something I definitely want to talk about, which is there's a few things I think that's going to get them stuck along the way. They added... See, I think they know... All right, they're smart about one thing, is they know not to bring up the scale. It's more adding more characters. Mm-hmm. They add in the Russians, which was great, because it's depressingly topical.
And you couldn't just have the government come in and start up the Hawkins lab again. Like, people would be like, really? Like, again?
Yep. And then putting the stuff around... what's his name? The brother, Max's brother.
Oh,
Billy.
Billy.
Giving him something to do, and I guess we should talk about the fact that Billy dies.
Billy does die.
But Billy, before he dies, he gets a nice arc. They like give him a lot to do.
He has an excellent arc in this season.
So they're like taking a few people away, but they're introducing new elements. I think most notable is Robin and Erica becoming a bigger character, right?
Yes, yeah. I mean, now that Erica is older, I assume, is it the same actress?
I think so. I'm not.
She's Lucas's little sister. She's given like a whole thing to do, and part of it may just owe to the fact that the actress is older and is able to do more.
Yeah, and I think she was a fan favorite in the previous seasons. Like they just more and more. What did you think about that? What did you think about Steve in this?
I fucking love Steve.
Yeah, Steve's arc is unbelievable.
Steve's arc is incredible.
Yeah, he's gone from like a pit bull to like a golden retriever, and
I know he's so great. Just like the first episode where you have Robin, his coworker, be like, "How many children are you friends with?"
Yeah. They kind of nailed it because they give him the first season he's an asshole. It sort of ends with a moment of humility. The second season is him trying to find his place in the world, being like kind of dethroned in this, like his ego is so bruised, and then he learns that he loves hanging out with kids.
Or that, like, and then sort of in this season, it's him kind of. They have a whole thing where it's sort of him realizing that like high school super doesn't matter.
Yes.
And that he's like he's regretful not about no longer being like the popular kid, but that he wasted so much time trying to be the popular kid.
Yeah. You know what I just realized is going on with their characters? Oh shit. Sorry, this didn't even occur to me because man. All right. So
they're all, I mean, this season in particular is about growing up.
Yeah, it is, but it's also growing up the nostalgia. That's what I was thinking is that, all right, so he starts with a job at the ice cream place with Robin, and you think it's going to be a romance.
Nope.
And they do it so well.
Really liked that, by the way.
Yeah, they both get drugged by the Russians, and then they're puking in the bathroom, and they basically become hilarious, like just clowns, right? Because they're both drugs.
Yeah,
and then he makes a move on her, and because she was saying that she always watched him in a certain class, and she's like, no, I was watching the girl that was watching you. Basically, she reveals that she's gay, and Steve like. He resets for a moment and then immediately accepts her and keeps going. And it's that's so sweet.
It was a really good moment because like in terms of him, like it's the whole episode it shows like how the whole season shows how well they get along and everything. And like you see him with Dustin, and Dustin keeps like, you should just like ask Robin out because you guys get along so well. And he's like resisting, and then when they're drugged, he's finally lets it slide that he's like, yeah, maybe like I you know, he does it in like a, you know, an indirect way, but he basically says, you know, we should date or whatever. And then she tells him that she's gay, and like you see like in like the brief, like you said in that reset, like you see his heart break a little bit.
Yeah, but because
he put himself out there and was like, nope. It's like, oh well, but then he like immediately just goes into like, oh, you shouldn't have worried about that girl. That girl was trash.
Yeah, exactly.
She couldn't, like, she's trying to be a singer and she can't sing for shit. Like.
Yeah, and I guess the finishing of their arc is at the very end. They both apply to the video store and get jobs at the video store, and that's when I just realized is that what we're watching is a romance, but it turns into basically buddy.
It's a bromance. Yeah.
It's like a stoner team. They're going into Kevin Smith territory.
Right. They're like, Dante and Randall.
Yeah, and that's what I realized is that that's what the thing they're teasing. I think for the next season is I think video stores are going to start becoming a thing.
We're in the mid '80s. Yeah, '85.
Yeah, and it's going to start. We're going to start tapping into that nostalgia. The losers working at a record store chatting about bullshit. Like that's where they're heading, which is great. I love it. Like they're finding little pockets of nostalgia to tap.
And with the kids, they have Will moving away.
Yeah.
And the kid, like, I fucking loved Will in this season. Like, he just wants to play D&D.
Yes, Will
and,
is.
Like, all the other kids have girlfriends. It was like there's a lot of us were Will at this age, where it's like, can we just play games again? Like nobody wants to hang out anymore.
I was really happy they did that to Will because Will kind of missed a summer. And I think that's one of the things I was wondering about season 2 is because Will spends most of season 1 not there. So I always wondered, like, I hope they cast the right kid, because now in season 2 he's like a regular character, and this was the season where I was like, I don't know what they're gonna give him to do, and they gave him something great.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, when it was heartbreaking when he destroys Castle Byers. He just smashes it apart.
Man, they give everybody stuff to do. Nancy,
there's good stuff. Yeah, Nancy and Jonathan have a good bit at the newspaper.
Yeah,
with that lady just feverishly shoveling handfuls of shit into her mouth. Oh my god!
All the exploding rats. Even Mike's mom has an arc about having an affair.
Yeah,
that was fucking weird. I mean, I liked it.
It was good.
Yeah. Yeah, they give everybody something to do. We even got Mr. Clark shows up real quick.
Ah, man, it can always use more Mr. Clark, but I like how they used him in this season.
Yes, I want more of him. I want him to join in on the
Mr. Clark. He just builds a whole fucking thing just to show Joyce how magnets work.
It's perfect. Yeah, that was the stuff, like, when Hopper's jealous about that, I was like, come on, Hopper.
Yeah.
Like, that's when he was like, that was when the season took a hit.
There was a couple of moments in that, like, when he's totally disbelieving of Joyce when they have to go back to the Hawkins lab, it's like, you wouldn't be. Like, you've seen all this shit.
I did like when she says something like, what if it's them? And he has to stop. Because like those are the moments where it's like, right, it's hard to deal with. It's hard to reset the seasons every season, and this is what the issue of Marvel has, where it's like everybody has PTSD, everybody is, and like suddenly you have to start over. That's why like Joyce was clearly not over. What's his name, Sean Astin there.
Oh yeah, that was good that they did that.
Yeah, I really appreciated that. This whole season though is about moving on and change. The center of town is no longer like it's this shifting of the nostalgia where it's like small town Main Street is gone and now it's the mall.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man. We could probably talk about what happens to Hopper, which that was one of those things where there's no why even pretend he's dead.
I don't know. I liked the weight of it.
Yeah, the ending's very bittersweet.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, especially dealing with nostalgia this whole time. Like, it's such a powerful thing to play with, and then
it's reminding us that it's like, hey, this was like it's hitting us in that beautiful spot in our mind, and then being like, yeah, and then you grew up,
right, and then you have to move on,
and then you moved on. This was nice. It was in your memory. It's the greatest time of your life, but it's over now. And yeah, having Hopper disappear, it makes the first half of the season seem that much more glaring to me.
Right.
But like, well, I don't.
It sucks for Joyce.
Sucks for Joyce. It sucks for 11.
Oh yeah, sucks for 11.
She has to, when she reads that letter.
Oh yeah, that was brutal. The letter pretty much sums up everything the season was about.
Yes. Yeah. It's about him. It's about people coping with change. Like, everything around you changes.
And it works so well for this show because the kids are growing up in the show, and I think the fans are like, I just want everything to stay the same.
Yeah, and it can't.
Yeah, and they're kind of facing that head on, the fact that they're like, look, it's going to grow up. We have this mythology that's going to expand. We have to figure out where to go from here. Like, it's going to become a different show. We're not going to just be like, remember Spielberg Adventure Kids now. Like, it's weird to think about, but it's like the show, if this show continues, and I'm sure it'll get 8 seasons, I feel like
the Duffers say they want 4, and the producer Sean Levy says he wants 5.
That makes sense.
So it's going to be either 4 or 5.
Right. Okay, so 4 or 5, but by the end, it's not going to be recognizable.
No, when they do the flashback when Will's in Castle Byers and it flashes back to the very first episode of them playing D&D, it was shocking. I was like, oh fuck, they were little kids in that. Right.
And they do the little passing of the torch. Erica gets the D&D books.
Yep.
But yeah, this feels like it could have been, if it weren't for the Hopper stuff, it could have been a finale of them all moving away, but that would have been so fucking sad.
That would have been too brutal, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad.
I'm sure the ending to this is the ultimate ending to the show is going to be some sort of bittersweet because finales always are.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't mind what happened to Hopper, even though it's very clear he just teleported to Russia.
Yeah. Well, they do the thing where they they do the teaser where. At the very end, they're like, "Get the not the American,
not
get
the
this
American.
guy," and it's like, "Yeah, it's gonna be that's him."
Even without that, like, I sort of I do and I don't like okay, like even without that, you knew he was trapped between the electrical field and the fucking gate to the Upside Down.
Right.
So it was like even without that little tag at the end, you could have inferred that Hopper wouldn't have just sat there and waited to die. He would have been like, well, I'll jump into the gate and take my chances and maybe 11 will find me.
Yeah, it's true. No matter what, you would know. Well, it's also just the nature of the show where it's like he's a major character. He's not dying. That's what I meant when it was like, what's the use? Where it's like they could have just shown him at the end, like in Russia or whatever, and it would have, because it's like we all know. Yeah. We all know. I'm not, I think that's what, it doesn't matter either way. Ultimately.
I appreciate them making us feel the loss, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it gave the finale of Joyce packing up the house and the kids saying their goodbyes, and then 11 reading that letter that Hopper never read to her.
Right.
It gave it that much more impact.
Yeah, that's true.
And then after you have this like crushing. And it does the little tag at the end where they give you that little speck of no. See, Hopper's okay.
Yeah, they didn't even need it. They play the "We Could Be Heroes" song, which the last time we heard that, I believe it's when Will was dead.
It's when they found Will's dead body.
Yeah, and it's like and he wasn't dead either. So
yeah, but it was also like a hugely emotional moment. Like I remember the first time I watched.
That was fucking crazy.
Yeah, like at the end of that episode, I had to stop for a minute. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah. What did you think about Russian Terminator?
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I like that they were just
Russian Terminator.
We're just going to bring the Terminator into the mix.
I was legitimately surprised he wasn't a robot.
Yes,
or some sort of supernatural being, because
he's somehow doing an Arnold impression, but Russian, like his voice.
Right, he's blank.
Yeah.
And the first thing we see him do is lift a man off the ground with one arm and crush his windpipe.
Right. You know what? What if he is a robot? What if he comes back?
Oh, he might. I mean, he bled though, and like things seemed to hurt him. True. And they explained Hopper shooting him a bunch with him wearing a bulletproof vest.
Yeah,
so.
I think it was just a tribute for that reason. When in the funhouse scene, which is great.
I love the funhouse scene.
Yeah, when he shoots him through the mirror, you're just like, Jesus! And then they do like a Terminator moment where he gets back up. But he has the bulletproof vest. I just love that they're like, let's get the Terminator in here.
Let's do the
somehow.
Terminator, yeah.
And that was a little blatant, but it was like, fuck it.
I was fine with it.
Yeah. There was certain things that, like the fair was cool, but it didn't really play into it that much. I think it was just an excuse to get everybody in the town away from the mall, right? To make it...
Probably, yeah.
It was a good, neat way to... Because I figured... Just seeing the fair in the trailers and then them establishing the fair, I was like, oh, is that going to be the, like, where it ends, all ends? But then after they established the mall more and more, it was like, oh, I guess it's the mall.
Well, yeah, and then when you pull up, because all the episodes are up, so like when you
can see
you can see that the last episode is called The Battle of Starcourt.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, all right.
All right. Yeah. I mean, it still worked. There were certain aspects, like Carrie Elways and the fair and stuff, they all felt like they could have not really been involved, but then it would have been shorter.
No, it was like, it was like, well, why are the Russians here? Well, because they bought up a bunch of land in a shady land deal. Well, how did that happen? Well, let's get let's get the mayor from Jaws. Well, who should play him? Fucking Carrie Elways.
Yeah. Let's have Hopper beat him up a bunch.
Man.
It'll be fucking great.
It's funny. It's like funny, like... Because when he fights the Terminator, obviously, like he fights him 2 or 3 times, and this guy just wails on Hopper.
Yeah.
So it's like you forget for a minute, and then like in scenes where he's fighting normal people, like Carrie Elways or like the other Russians in the funhouse, like, oh right, he's a big dude and he beats the hell out of people.
Right? Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, that I love the Hopper versus the Terminator dude.
Oh man.
What'd you think of? They gave Well, that Russian guy,
Alexei.
He was a fun little addition.
Yeah, it was
his little friendship with what's his name?
With Brett Gilman. I forget his character's name. Yeah, I liked it. It was
his addition. There was he was one of the characters. Brett Gilman was like getting to him and Robin, where it's like we get to see these characters meet the other characters for the first time.
Mm-hmm. And his code name was being Bald Eagle. Was very funny.
Yeah.
And Alexei marked kind of when Hopper stopped being dumb.
Yeah.
Because they had set it up like he was going to be wrong. Like he's finally sick of Alexei's shit. He throws him out with the handcuff keys and with the car keys, and they're like, "All right, like he's going to run away." Hopper's like, "No, he's not.
Yes,
he's not going to run away because he's more scared of them than he is of us." And like they make it seem like he's just going to be.
They seem like it's a comedically wrong moment,
right? Like he's. And it made sense up to that point because he has been a buffoon up until this point in the season.
I appreciate that only because that was like this moment where I felt like I finally got some air in terms of his character, because it was like when it started setting that up, I was like, oh, more fucking Hopper being a jackass. Yeah. We're just gonna see him stumble, and then when he's right, it was like he needs that win. So I sort of get what they were trying to do with him.
It was
but I
too
think
much.
They made him.
Yeah.
It was a little too much in the beginning.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Too much of him just yelling constantly. Yeah. It's like, all right, like
I like the stuff with Mike. I like that he was like, "Your Nana's sick." Like he was.
Yeah, he just drags him outside.
That shit where he just can't stand Mike.
I mean,
and I like the stuff with 11. Oh, 11 and Max. Their relationship was fucking great.
Oh yeah, their
too.
stuff was fun too.
Their mall montage, them using her powers to spy on people, like that was all really fun.
Spin the bottle with her powers was fun.
Yeah, the stuff where it's becoming a teenager and having these powers. Oh, that's the one final thing that bugged me about this season, and it's the least surprising thing they had to do, which is take away Elles Powers.
Oh yeah, they had to.
I hate. This happens not just in Stranger Things, but it's the idea of like, here's a character with amazing powers, and then once they get too far into it, they're like, okay, we need to figure out how to get rid of this person.
Well, it was weird in this season because they already established that using her powers takes a lot out of her physically.
Right.
So they couldn't, rather than have it be like, I don't know why they did it.
Could have had it been strength. Like, she just can't.
Yeah, like, I don't know why they bothered to do that thing at the end where it's like, oh, her powers can't come back. It's just like, no, like we've seen in the first two seasons when she does something huge, like she's out.
I think they're setting up the next season a little bit. Like I think they know they're getting another season, so they're like, let's put them in the place they need to be. And I think
like, she ends like Magneto in the park and X-Men: The Last Stand.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Magneto's somehow free.
Yeah.
No idea why. Magneto is just in a park. They're like, oh, he doesn't have any powers. He can go.
Yeah,
it's like, I don't think that's how that works.
Cancels out all his crimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the next season they'll be working on her getting her powers back, and it'll be a big thing. I just hate, I don't know, I hate that where... I know why they do it, but it's Marvel has to deal with this all the time, where they're like, here's Vision, and then they're like, okay, we better stab Vision quick. Because Vision can walk through walls and do anything.
The best ways they've done it so far are Iron Man 3, where he just loses his suit.
Yeah, that was solid.
Probably just that. I do appreciate the idea of just like...
Oh, I love the idea of it, but...
Not like... For like Captain Marvel, where they're like, why don't we just call Captain Marvel? It's because Earth is pretty insignificant in terms of the universe, and she's off doing other things. Yeah,
I don't mind it when it's done well. In this one, it just felt like she got her leg hurt, and then she couldn't use her powers anymore.
Then she couldn't use her powers anymore,
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like, it never gets... It's like when... well, I actually like it in Spider-Man 2 because the idea is that he's just...
it makes sense.
He's not using his powers, and so he's
he's feeling like shit and defeated, and yeah. But like in the new Spider-Man 2, where he just does his spider sense just doesn't work for no reason.
Right. Yeah, and it's like, I don't know why.
Okay,
they have to give us a good reason to do this.
Yeah, I need an explanation that's not just, oh, it doesn't work suddenly. Why is it? I'm like,
and they didn't do it for 11. They could have, because they could have had the Russians, whatever the device they were working on, because 11 got her powers. Oh no, she opened
she got
the
her powers
rift
from
with
MK.
her powers.
She got her powers from MK Ultra.
Right, but the idea that they're opening the rift using something that's similar to her powers, like if it my point is they could have explained it better. Of like that ray that they're using to open the thing could have been the thing that like when it explodes it fucks up her powers.
Yeah, or she could have gotten like when the monster crashes through the skylight, a piece of glass could have cut her on the head or something, and it or something
better.
Yeah.
Even a shitty explanation would have been an explanation.
Yeah.
So I have one more question.
Okay.
Where do they go from here? How do you preserve this?
I don't know, and I'm sort of okay with that.
Yeah. I have a weird desire because I'm sure the Duffer Brothers know where they're going from here. Because they're thinking about this a lot.
Yeah.
This is one of the few shows where I want more of. Like, whenever these seasons are, were there 10 episodes? 8 episodes?
8 for this and the first one. I think 9 for the second one.
Yeah. And it's like, I wish there were more.
Yeah, there's so little of it.
Yeah, and I love it so much.
In a way that might be what makes it so good.
Yeah, I know that's what it is.
It's like, what happened as soon as we got more than those first 3 Star Wars?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What happened as soon as we got more of those first 3 Indiana Joneses?
Yeah, if they don't have any more story to tell beyond what they have, then so be it. I've been wondering, and this is probably a really dumb idea, is there a way to make a Stranger Things cinematic universe? Or a TV show universe?
Honestly, their initial idea, after they did that first season and they were told they were getting a second season, the Duffers didn't immediately think of doing a continuation. They thought of making it an anthology series.
Yeah,
if they were going to do it as a sequel, they were thinking about doing it style, where it was going to be many, many years later with the kids as adults coming back to Hawkins, Indiana.
Oh, that's cool too. Shit.
So I think
I wish one of the seasons... Oh, no, I like all the cast, but that would have been a really cool season idea. I say this because one of the best parts to me of this show is seeing new characters interact. People come up to speed. Like they have that element of a cinematic universe, which is, why people love watching the Avengers or all the Avengers movies where it's like, oh, we get to see Star-Lord interact with Iron Man, and we've never seen that. And I get that fun excitement when that happens in this. They also established that whole thing in season 2 where there's other people like 11 who's been experimented on.
Kali is her name.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're going to do anything with that, because it felt like they were almost establishing like an X-Men style.
Well, I'm anticipate that character will come back as a villain.
Yeah, I can see that. That would be a good maybe this season, because I do think they also... Maybe they were just planting a seed there because they knew the Upside Down was gonna... They can't keep going back to the Upside Down, right?
That, right.
I was surprised by this season because I was like, are they still doing the fucking Upside Down? But they introduced enough the Russian stuff in the facility that it was like, oh, this feels new, this feels fresh.
Yeah, and I like that it was essentially the same monster from season 2, wanting revenge and knowing that it has to kill 11, and that it becomes the thing.
Yeah. Also, I like the body snatcher element, and I thought they were going to do more with that, but it was fine as it is.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like Hawkins gets body snatched. Like, it's just... I thought that was the nostalgia they were going to tap into, and just... the Thing body snatchers.
A little bit.
But the monster was disgusting.
Yeah, that was heinous.
Yeah.
That monster.
Just guts. Just roiling guts.
Yep.
It was pretty great.
Yeah, I thought the monster was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And I was worried about it. I was worried about them blowing it up too much, but it made, like, they're still keeping it, even though it was like a town-wide thing, and like...
they kept it small scale.
It was still a pretty personal story in terms of it was about the interaction between this core group of characters.
Right. It's just it really is hard to figure out how to do that. And I think it depends on if they, like, this is a weird comparison. I'm thinking of Sense8, which you didn't see, Tom, right?
No, I haven't watched it.
Sense8 was about a group of people who were all connected. all over the world, so they could jump into basically each other's bodies. So what made it cool is they were all kind of superheroes, where that they had the skill set of all these other people. So like one of them was an actor, for example, so if someone had to lie convincingly, the actor would go into them, and one of them was really good at fighting, and so on. And then what the bigger mythology they started doing, which is that there were other groups like this, and there were like some of them were kind of warring, and like that was a cool idea of just like, oh, these is like pockets of people in the world. And so I guess that's what I felt like they were doing with 11 at first, where
it's like a Psychic the Warriors.
Yeah. It's a cool show. It's there's a lot of orgies. It's a show that doesn't need as many orgies as it has.
Right.
But whatever. It's a fun show. Point is that I thought that's where season 2 was heading when they introduced the new girl with 11's type powers.
Kali.
I was like, oh, are they going to start doing like people with different powers? But yeah, they might. It feels more like the best idea is to just bring her back for the next season.
Yeah.
As a villain. Mm-hmm. And I know there'll still be some upside down shit, I'm sure.
Yeah, or they'll deal with other dimensions or something. I don't know.
Another dimension would be awesome.
Yeah, would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Because if they do the next year, the next year is going to be 1986, and you know what comes out in 1986.
Wait, what comes out in 1986?
Aliens.
Oh, fuck! Oh! Oh, I wonder if they're tapping into that. They haven't tapped too much into aliens nostalgia.
The look of the Upside Down looks like an alien hive.
They should tap into Predator somehow, too.
Oh, yeah, get Predator in there. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Throw him in there.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm wondering what they'll do besides the mall in the next, because the mall was a great idea when I was like, oh, they're doing malls. Fucking fantastic. The video store I think is a good idea, because then it's going to be like them going to rent videos and shit, and like VHS becomes more popular. Video
games, Nintendo is going to come up pretty soon.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, they did the arcade. Season 2 was arcade. Did season 1 have any central? I think season 1 was just establishing the universe.
D&D was like the central thing.
Oh yeah, and then that's true. Yeah, and then the arcade, and then the mall. And so I think video store is a good place to go from there. And and like and video games in general is like being at home more.
Cable television. Yeah, it's gonna be more about being at home.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, man.
I wish these didn't take so fucking long. It's true. The reason why it's good is because there's not much of it.
Well, there was only 1 year in between seasons 1 and 2.
Right.
There was 2 this last time.
That's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Yeah. It's kind of bullshit. And they got
old.
They got to get moving.
They all got shit to do.
Kids are going to grow up.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to grow up. They're going to do the drugs. They're going to
Oh yeah, all these kids are on
we
drugs.
we get to see some lives get ruined over the last 10, 15 years.
One of these kids is going to Feldman out for sure.
100%.
That's I take that back.
No.
I take that back.
I mean, I hope here's the thing. Okay. Here's a good way to take it back, though, is that we've gotten better at child stars, I think. You look at all them Harry Potters, they're all turning out pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think it's because, and I know Daniel Radcliffe has had some problems, but like, I think what it is with child actors is that we all go into a phase when we're teenagers where we fuck up. We fuck up a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And like, imagine fucking up and the entire country is watching you fuck up. And it sucks. Like, imagine those shitty phases you go through where you're like, I think wearing this hat is cool. And then everybody gets to see it.
Yeah, I think we're also better about the main reason why I take it back is because, Feldman and Haim experienced abuse. I think we're
right, and we've gotten better at that. I think
so.
I imagine
now in 2019.
Yeah, I feel like these sets must have like one person on set who's just walking around, just like, hey, it's 10 like. 3 feet apart, everybody. 3 feet apart. Nobody touching anybody here, and like not even for like predatory stuff. Just they're all teenagers.
Yeah,
and it's like all right,
teenagers are a nightmare.
Yeah, it's just like everybody calm the fuck down.
Yeah,
we're not gonna have any shit coming out of this set. Just one guy. Just one guy running around stressing out. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's it. I feel like that's all I have to say about this season.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other. I don't know. I think that we covered pretty much all of the main things, and I'm trying to think of anything else stuck out to me that I wanted to talk about. And
Jake Busey, can't talk more about Jake Busey is they use him exactly. I love how cartoonish all the editors are with Nancy.
They're all douchebags.
I really like that exchange because like part of you, it's like I got it with Jonathan. He's like, can you just fucking like you've just hired to do a certain job, and like he's technically right. But Nancy's extremely right, where it's like, and this is the only job they'll ever give me. Where it's like
they have two different priorities.
Yeah,
and they have a conversation about it, which is really good. Like they have two completely different worldviews, and both are valid.
Yeah,
like Jonathan's just like, I just got to keep my head down and keep this job because my family doesn't have much money, and Nancy's like, this is the only job they were going to give me. They treat me like shit because I'm a woman.
Right, and she knows like she has to take it if she wants it.
Yes,
and that's fucking heart to heart with her mom later.
Yeah, that's
great.
A good scene.
Yeah. There's the what's his name? Mike and Nancy's mom is
she's killing it.
Shit to do in this. Yeah, she is killing it.
She has a little bit in the first season too.
She does. And the second season with with Billy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Billy.
The lifeguard stuff was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, but yeah. Jake Busey, man.
Yeah,
it was the moment he's evil. I was just like, great use of Jake Busey. Yeah, because I got really nervous when he first showed up. I was like, oh, is he just playing a dickhead? No, that's not how you do Jake Busey. You got to make him like terrifying.
Yeah,
you got to make Jake Busey terrifying, and then they did, and I was happy.
They did, yes.
Then he exploded into guts.
Yep, he sure did.
Good stuff.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's a sewed, everyone.
Yeah, I think so. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thanks. We did this instead of going to see The Lion King, because fuck that.
Holy shit, I just remembered The Lion King is out.
Yep. Yep.
Is it doing good? I haven't heard anybody talk about it.
Of course it is.
There's no chatter for it online.
Yeah, probably for good reason, but I mean, everybody's still seeing it.
Oh, yeah, who gives a fuck about Lion King?
If you're a person who was railing against Amazon Prime Day and saying boycott Amazon on Amazon Prime Day and then happily bought a ticket to see a Lion King, you suck.
Yeah.
You're the same person you were mad at. No, I don't mean that. You don't suck. It's hard. Like
it's hard. The movie theater. The other thing is that it's just like
that's the only thing that's out there. Like where I live, the only place to shop is like Target and Walmart. The movie theater has it only has a few screens and they're all fucking Disney movies. Like this is why monopolies are bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's
we
also
don't
why they
have
exist.
much of a choice.
Yeah. No, that's the problem. Is like if you have kids this weekend and they want to see a movie, what the fuck else are you going to do?
What are you going to see?
You're
going to take them to see Toy Story or The Lion King or Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like and they're all fucking Disney. Like, what are you going to do? What can you do? What can you do?
Gotta burn it all down.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, the revolution is coming.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're really here to talk about, not Stranger Things.
I'm glad we got your attention with this 54 minutes of discussion about Stranger Things.
We're just buttering you up. Yeah, this is how we indoctrinate you.
But yeah, thanks for listening. If you want to continue to support us and the revolution, you can head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed, where you can get in on some cool tiers, including exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman and Fox Mulder's a Maniac. Tiers where we watch movies with you guys on every Friday night. Tiers where you can make us record your own custom episode of We Just Watched for whatever you want.
Yes, and that is something people are doing to us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And also just a tier where you can just make us make podcasts about whatever.
Yeah, we have a tier where you can literally have us do a private podcast that you never have to show the world if you don't want to. So yeah, check it out.
Just for you.
We also got a TeePublic store, tpublic.com/store/gamefullyunemployed. We have t-shirts for our podcast. We have some extra t-shirts. We got Swolefield, which doesn't make sense unless you've seen it.
It's a Swole Garfield with
Garfield.
Anatomically correct nipples.
Yes. So yeah.
Several nipples.
It's the next. It should be. I want that to be season 4 of Stranger Things.
Well, yeah, that's the next big bad that they're going to have to face. Is Swole Garfield.
Yeah. They're gonna
Yeah.
have to milk him.
And if you guys feel like it, leave us a review.
Yeah.
Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, do that as well.
Or
There's so
wherever
many
you're
things
listening.
you can do. There's so many
things you guys can do that without even leaving your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Or however you're consuming this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's enough. That's it. We're done now.
All right.
We're done. We're all done here.
All right. See
Let's,
you, everybody.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.